All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Darius Unchauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to pick up on the Apple stock. Look, if you saw the news yesterday and you saw this big show, basically where Tim Cook was invited to the invited on the carpet in the Oval Office. Yeah, it was it was very interesting to watch. I mean, it was very interesting to see Mr. Cook's face expression. But hey, I think that everybody has to play along for the next kind of 3.5 years. Look, if you missed the news, basically yesterday, Apple announced that it will be investing into the US, basically, that they're going to be opening production in the US, and the iPhone and the Apple Watch will be purely made in the US. I think that still there will be components that will be sourced, but from outside. But certainly the whole assembly, I think it will be now in the US. So for those who are, loving the Apple products, look, no doubt it's going to be a little more expensive, and yeah, it's. Of course, they will try to roll out the new products as soon as possible. Probably they will kind of advertise it on the fact that it is US made, and the quality is the best at it as it ever has been, or better than it has ever been. And something like that. So blah blah blah. Right? Okay. So we all know that these marketing tricks. But in general, I wanted to pick up look on the Apple stock here, and you can see that the pre-market action right now is already higher than yesterday's close. So yesterday we already rallied, and it was the quick drip here to the drift to the downside, because again the stock has been drifting lower because the market was not really convinced that Apple is in the whole AI race. I mean, it's kind of playing the catch-up game. It should be like a leader in innovation, but again, the market is kind of felt that Apple is starting to lag. Also, the tariffs on China and India, this uncertainty around tariffs in China and India, this was also hurting Apple, because again we know that Apple shifted a lot of manufacturing into India, and trying to overcome the Chinese tariffs, and yeah, that kind of made the U.S. president kind of not very happy, and this whole political game, and we saw what we saw. So anyway, coming back to the news, basically that U.S. Will be now hosting Apple and Apple kind of factories, and we know that Apple did commit to a 500 billion dollar US dollar investment into the US. But then yesterday they came out and say, hey, you know what? Another 100 billion on top, so 600. Okay, over 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Right. It all sounds nice, and catchy headlines. That's great. However, we want to see this in practice, if it's going to work or not. Certainly, at the moment, the hype will be there, but let's not forget that the problem is not only the production lines; it's also the labor force. Does the U.S. have enough labor, skilled labor, to produce something like an iPhone? Look, maybe they do, but they come at a cost, So I'm not going to be surprised if it's going to be twice or triple time the cost. So the people factor will be the main one, unless they somehow will automate everything. And they will basically, yes, they will employ a few people, but the rest of the process could be automation. So that's my only kind of way out of it, that because otherwise, if you need the same amount of people that you needed there, but they get like three times less, for example, than what people in the US will get. So you know we all understand economics, right? So look, long story short, for now, what we're seeing here is a nice push on to the upside here, on the Apple stock. We cleared a key area of resistance. Look, I'm applying technical analysis on the stock, but I always say just kind of look at the fundamentals first and look at the headlines, and then kind of use technical analysis on stocks. You can apply those, yes, that's fine, but just it's a little bit more than technical analysis. So with I do love technical analysis, don't get me wrong, but I do understand at the same time that it's not only technical analysis that has to be applied when you're analyzing stocks. So anyway, so yes, we popped above the 216 territory. That was a key resistance area. We're currently trading a little bit above that. So what I'm kind of hoping to see today is like maybe a little bit of a drift back down, a little bit of a correction back down. If this area somewhere here holds, like near this 216 or maybe this 200-day EMA, if it all holds, if it all provides good support, we might see a nice rebound and a push back up. Now, in terms of pushing back up, now although I'm very ambitious here with further upside like this, I have to admit that it might be somewhere till here initially. Why? Because again, we have another technical part here, which is this downside line, which could be a little bit in the way. So look, long story short, for now, of course, we are watching what's going to happen here with this further with the stock going further. This downside line here is around this $220 mark. So if we clear that easily, yes, I'm going to go then to the upside. So that's my kind of take on this Apple stock. Look, in terms of the downside, of course, we can draw some upside lines right here. This tentative upside support line, but maybe actually I would prefer to draw this one instead. I think this could be a little bit better. So if we do fall below that slightly flatter upside line, and we also clear this territory, the low of the current lowest point of where was it this week, and actually yes, then there we go. Is this the lowest point? Let me just double check. Low 212. No, low of last week. There we go. If we clear the low of last week, or should I say the lowest point, the current lowest point of August, near the 201.50, then I'm going to consider a move to the downside, because then I think that it's opening the gateway to areas um, below the 200 mark. Now, look, we're not rushing into things. Of course, it would be interesting to see if Apple could travel back to the to this territory right here. Let me just adjust this very quickly. So this is the all-time high, around 260, $260 mark. Yep. So if you're trying to understand, like, let's say, possible potential in terms of percentage, let's say if it's on a break of this downside line, then we're looking at to this to the all-time high, it's around 17%. If you're looking to this 250 zone, that's around 13% on a break of this downside line. So again, if you believe in the stock, that the stock could go actually to 300, let's have a look at the 300 zone. So then we are talking about an increase of around 36% ish, and that's on a break of this downside line. So again, evaluate your time, your risk appetite, and just see if this is worth. Maybe just, let's say, not a lot. Maybe just a small portion of your portfolio could be in there. But again, don't get me wrong. This is not financial advice, but just like I said, thinking out loud. If you would like to hold Apple stock, then just kind of consider a possible return here, where we could go to which level. If it's 300. If you believe that you want to put this one for like very, very long term, I would say just kind of be careful, because again, these upcoming like 4 years or 3.5 years until the new president will come in, could be a little bit shaky for Apple, just because again we understand that yes, great news, Apple is building, going to be opening production in the U.S., but it's not really, economically kind of worth it. It's more of a political move. So that's why, if let's say if after you know after 4 years, basically, they decide, you know what, like screw all that, let's go back into Asia, to build that because our profit margins are better this way. Maybe then the stock could get, boost. But again, that's just an idea for now. It's speculation. So let's see what's going to happen in the actual world. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, your views, your likes, your comments, everything. So, yes, and yeah, as always, stay safe. Have your stop losses in place. Risk only what you can afford to lose. Don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. And I'll see you later. Bye bye.